Okay, I want you to picture something. A world that runs on the power of muscle, wind, and water. A world where life moves at the pace of the seasons, not a ticking clock. Now imagine watching all of that get completely, totally remade in a single lifetime. Today, we're going to break down one of the biggest, most disruptive changes in all of human history.
So, what exactly was the Industrial Revolution? Well, at its core, it was this insane explosion of change that really got going in Britain around 1760. And look, this wasn't just about a few new gadgets. No way. This was a ground-up transformation of society itself, from a world of farming to a world of factories. It changed everything about how people lived, worked, and thought about their lives.
And at the very heart of this huge shift was a clash between two totally different ways of life, two different ways of making things. The old world of working from home versus the brand new and kind of scary world of the factory.
Before all the factories popped up, things were made under what historians call the domestic system. You got a picture of family, maybe working together in their own cottage, weaving cloth. They were their own bosses, you know? They controlled their own hours, they took breaks when they wanted, and work was just part of family life. It was all about skill, craftsmanship, and family.
And you can see the trade-off right here, can't you? The domestic system, it gave you freedom. It worked for your family. But man, was it slow. The factory system, on the other hand, it promised something incredible. Mass production on a scale nobody had ever seen before. But that promise, it came with a really steep price, grueling hours and some seriously harsh conditions.
The thing is, the old way just couldn't keep up. The population was growing, and more people wanted to buy stuff. Enter entrepreneurs like Richard Arkwright. They had a new idea. What if you brought the workers, the raw materials, and the new machines all together under one single roof? And just like that, the factory was born. So what actually lit the fuse on this whole thing? Why did this explosion of change happen right then and right there in Britain? Well, it turns out it wasn't just one thing. It was a perfect storm.
You know, when you look at it, all the pieces just fell right into place for Britain. Thanks to big changes in farming, they had a ton of people looking for work. They were literally sitting on mountains of coal and iron. They had the cash to invest, a stable government that didn't get in the way, and a massive colonial empire to supply raw materials and then buy all the finished goods. All the ingredients were there, just waiting for a spark.
And boy, did that spark come. It was this incredible cascade of inventions, one after another. The spinning jenny made making thread way faster. Then James Watt's steam engine came along and gave them a power source they could put anywhere. Then the power loom, which automated weaving. All of a sudden, things that took skilled workers days to make by hand could be churned out in minutes by a machine. The pace of change was just staggering.
And these new machines didn't just change how you made a piece of cloth. No, they started to remake society itself, right down to its very foundations.
I mean, just look at the difference. It's night and day. Where you worked, the pace of your day, what powered your work, who you sold things to. Every single part of daily life was being completely re-engineered around the factory.
And what happens when you build all these factories? You need people to work in them. This kicked off one of the biggest human migrations ever. Entire families packed up and moved from the countryside into these new, booming industrial cities, all hoping to find a job. And this happened so fast, without any planning, that it created huge problems with overcrowding and sanitation.
Now, the progress was undeniable. More stuff was being made than ever before, and some people were getting incredibly rich. But it really forces you to stop and ask a pretty important question. Was this new world really better for everyone?
And this gets right to the human cost of it all. Think about it. A skilled craftsman who took immense pride in their work was now just a factory worker, doing the same mind-numbing task over and over and over. As the source material puts it so powerfully, a lot of them felt enslaved by the very machines that were supposed to be signs of progress. And some people decided to fight back. The Luddites. They were textile workers who looked at these new machines and saw a direct threat to their entire way of life. So they got organized. They would break into factories in the middle of the night and smash the very looms that were putting them out of a job. It was a really dramatic and ultimately desperate stand against this relentless march of the machines.
In the end, though, the Luddites couldn't stop it. The factory system won out. So what's the legacy of this whole revolution? What did it end up leaving behind for all of us?
Well, its legacy is, pretty simply, the world we live in right now. Britain became the workshop of the world, an industrial superpower.
and its new way of doing things spread like wildfire to Europe, to America, to Japan. The global economy that connects all of us today, it was forged in the fire and steam of those early factories.
Which leaves us with one final thought. That intense, chaotic, world-changing period of disruption, it built our modern world. Today, with things like AI and automation changing everything all over again, a lot of people are saying we're standing on the edge of the next industrial revolution. So looking back at the winners, the losers, and the massive social upheaval of the first one, are we ready for what's coming next?